You're watching Moms Matter right here on Focus TV Network. I'm your host, Shirin Yadigar, and we have a very special guest today. We have founder of She Says, Linda Grasso, right here with us. So excited to have you here on the show today.
Well, it's so great to be here.
I mean, you are inspiring thousands upon thousands of women with what you're doing. I am in awe, and I am so excited to just hear from you because I think as moms, we all get to a point in our lives where we say, uh-oh, what am I going to do now? My kids are a little older, and I stopped working years ago, and who am I in this new world and in this new era, and how am I going to find myself again?
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of it. I mean, so many women, and this is why we started the She Says podcast, so many women, such as yourself, they go to college, you got a master's, you had a big career as a journalist, and then something happened. You had children, and that changes everything.
Everything.
And you get immersed in raising them, and that is so beautiful. I did it myself. I was a stay-home mom for 5 years. And then what happens is once they get in sort of middle school, those junior high years, they start pulling away. And then once they get to high school, if you're like most moms, they leave at 7:30 in the morning, and then with sports and extracurricular activities and ballet and all that stuff, they don't get home until 7 o'clock at night. And you're finding yourself with these huge windows of time.
Right.
And you've been out of the workforce. You know, you've been running errands and you've been the CEO of your house.
Absolutely.
And it's really daunting to sit back and think, what am I going to do with all this time?
Right.
And by the way, what are you going to do when they go off to college? So we started the She Says podcast to start sharing stories of women who have done that, who have pivoted, who, look, not all of them have been stay-home moms and then sort of reinvented themselves.
Right.
Some of them had a big career in their 20s, early 30s, sometimes even 40s, and then all of a sudden they woke up and thought, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
The common denominator of all the guests is women who have made bold pivots, big changes, and have compelling stories. And a lot of them have been stay-home moms.
I mean, that's what happens, though. We get so enraptured in our little world, in our bubble of raising our kids and making sure, right? We're type A, want to make sure everything's perfect, make sure we're raising them the best we can. But then that time comes where you have drop off at 8 and pick up at 4, and you're like, wait, I need to go back. And sometimes we're too old, or sometimes we're just not tech savvy enough, and we're lost as to what are we going to do now? And really, we lose our identity. And the question I have for you is, how do we really find our mojo? How do we find our identity? How do we get back to being the great warriors that we are?
So look, I think motherhood comes in chapters. When you are in that breastfeeding,
diaper
changing, up all night.
No.
I think that's when you got to let it go. It's got to be about that. And look, I'm not preaching. Everybody does it differently,
sure,
but I'm speaking in general.
Right.
Once the kids get in elementary school, there can still be a lot of heavy lifting, because they have different schedules. Sometimes they get out at 12. Sometimes they get out at 2. You're still doing a lot of driving. You're still probably up at the crack of dawn and that kind of thing. I think one of the things you need to do by the time your kids get to junior high, middle school, is start thinking of you, taking time for yourself. That could be taking a class. That could be taking another woman out to lunch, someone that you admire who is doing something interesting. It could be reading. It's basically taking time for you to expand your mindset and to think about you. I think we did some back and forth emailing, and one of the things we talked about is moms don't dream. They're fostering their husband's dreams of building his career and how he can get in better shape, and so he eats well, and again, going out to the dinners and whatever it is to make sure that he's the man, the provider.
Yes.
We're fostering and nurturing our children's dreams because we want them to become the people that they want to be, or win the soccer championship, or be the water polo star, or make the school play. And we're doing everything we can to make sure that their dreams come true. And sometimes what gets lost in the mix is the mom's dreams.
Yes, it does.
I often say to moms, when they come to me and they're like, oh, my God, I've lost my mojo. What am I going to do for the next 30 years, 40 years, 50 years? What do you dream of? What about your dreams? They don't have to be career dreams. It's not like, well, I've always dreamt I want to be a this, that, and the other. It can be that.
Right.
But it could be a dream of getting in the best shape of your life, or becoming a painter, taking up a hobby and really immersing yourself in it. And I think by focusing on yourself and taking maybe an hour a day to think about you and what might help you grow
Right.
Professionally, emotionally, spiritually. And sometimes that takes quiet time.
Yep.
And sometimes it takes you getting out of your shell. If you're used to, like I was for 5 years, running around doing for everybody.
Yeah, go.
Hair in a ponytail, sometimes showered, sometimes didn't. You know, you've been up all night. If you're doing all that, you know, you're kind of going through the motions and all that. Maybe sometimes just take some quiet time at home. You know, meditation is really big right now.
It is.
Take a yoga class, but do something that makes you think and get outside your shell. Do things that scare you. Take a computer class, take a painting class, take a sketching class. If there's a woman out there in the community that you admire, invite her to lunch.
I'm taking you to lunch.
But see what makes her tick, you know?
No, but that's
and
right.
that's
You're
what
right.
She Says is about. It's about walking toward the fear, planning for the future before you get there. Because what you don't want to be is that mom who's all of a sudden deer in the headlights because the kids are in high school and blowing you off and gone for huge chunks of time. Or worse, they've gone to college and you don't have a plan. That's what you don't want.
Well, I think that's the biggest problem is that we don't have a plan. I mean, we are so fortunate, especially on the west side of LA, right here where we are. We're fortunate for the most part that many of us don't need to work financially. And therefore, we get lost and immersed. And then, like you said, it's like, uh-oh, what now? But it's not about finding a career. Like you said, sometimes it's about just finding your passion. What do you love?
Absolutely.
Great advice, and it's absolutely true. It's finding your love and passion for life again.
And by the way, you know, I think that there's an inclination to think, oh, well, you know, if you start taking your mom time, you're going to be less of a mom or less of a wife. To be honest with you, one of the things I've learned through the podcast and talking to these women who have made bold and compelling pivots and done really cool things is that they're better moms because they are investing in themselves.
Sure.
And you're not harboring regrets. I mean, how many women do we know that left the ginormous career and became great moms? And by the way, there's so much value in that.
Oh,
you know,
yes.
I don't want anyone to
Absolutely.
think that I'm denigrating that. Or
There's nothing more important in the
I
world.
myself took time off to raise my children. But you know, what you don't want to do is, you know, wound up to be 45, 55, 60, 70, 80, whatever, and think, I missed my shot. I mean, one of the women I interviewed on the podcast named Rose Eichenbaum, she wanted to be a professional dancer, and she went to UCLA. I think she was part of the dance program. I think she also got her master's, and she wanted to be a professional dancer, but she fell in love. She got married at 21, and before she knew it, she had 3 kids. And right around like her early 30s, she started to feel a little resentful. She felt like she had missed her dream. And she loved her husband. She's married to a fabulous man. The kids were fantastic, so rewarding. But there was this little pocket inside her where she started feeling regretful and a little tiny bit resentful. She's one of my favorite She Says interviews. She crafted her next chapter in such a beautiful and intellectual way. She's a woman who loved dance. She, all through her children's lives, you know, when they were young, as many of us do, she took a cajillion photographs, right? We all take all the, but she was really talented. She kept through the years, people would say, you know, Rose, you should be a professional photographer. It's more than the holiday card. You are awesome. These pictures are amazing. She enrolled in a fantastic sort of high-level art photography class. I think first she took a beginner and she kind of worked her way up, and then she took a professional lighting class. And she started going to dance studios, the really well-known ones here in Los Angeles, and just hanging out. And there would be famous dancers coming in, and she would say, would you mind if I took your photo? Before she knew it, she was a photographer for Dance Magazine, which is still in existence. And she is now the preeminent photographer of dancers. Everyone who has been famous. I mean, I think Baryshnikov, Gregory Hines, the famous ballerinas. She's done everyone. She's done hip hop artists, and she has published her, I don't know if it's her 4th or 5th coffee table book, but that to me is the She Says woman. It's taking an approach, thinking about what your passions are, what your feelings are, you know, what do you miss, where are you in your life, and crafting something for yourself that works and makes your dreams come true.
I love it. Linda, that's amazing. And I think all of us are She Says women. All of us do have that in us to recraft, find ourselves, use our passion, and get there.
And it's a good thing, because the truth is we're supposed to be living, I think our daughters are supposed to live, if they have a healthy, lucky life, until they're 100. They're going to be reinventing themselves many times. What better thing to do as a mother than to show your daughter how?
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, we talk about being an example. Reinvention is going to be part of life. I mean, it certainly is for even our generation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, there's no better time to be a woman.
Absolutely.
I mean, for years, no. You know what? Go out and get your yes.
Yes.
It's about finding that yes.
I love that. Yes.
know?
Go out there and get your yes.
Yeah, you know, you're going to have people tell you no along the way and look at you like you're cross-eyed, look at you like you're dated, or you don't know the latest Adobe Photoshop, wah, wah, wah. Keep going, step over the nose until you find your yes.
Thank you, Linda. I love that.
You're welcome.
You heard it right here on Moms Matter. Go out there and get your yes with Linda Grasso of She Says. What a phenomenal interview we had. Make sure to tune in next time when we talk to Linda for more about how to go out and find your mojo.